So, hey, appreciate you guys joining us today. I'm with Ben Bagley with Cottonwood Insurance, and today we're going to be talking about the 10 insurance myths that are out there, okay? 10 myths that you need to know about, know the truth about, to help save you money on your insurance. So, Ben, thanks for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Cottonwood Insurance.
Okay, well, I've been in the business for a few years now, and Cottonwood Insurance has been around since around 1986, so about 25 years. And basically, we're an independent insurance agency, so that means that we work with a number of different insurance companies, tons of companies, and we can shop people around and help find them the best price, which kind of separates us from somebody like a Farmers or State Farm who is kind of stuck with one company. You know, we can call multiple insurance carriers.
Perfect. So there's a lot of options when it comes to insurance. Ben is one of the guys that we trust and recommend with our insurance needs. So if you guys have questions, always feel free to call Ben. Now, let's jump into the 10 myths right here. The first myth on our list right here is that car insurance rates go down dramatically when you turn 25. Is that always true?
No, it isn't. And I get calls from people quite often who are surprised when their rates haven't just gone down magically at the age of 25. So, you know, as a shopper, as an insurance shopper, it's important that you know, when you have a child that turns 25, you either call your insurance agent and have them take a look at it and possibly shop you around with other companies if it's an independent agent, or maybe have your child who's now 25 shop around for themselves.
Get their own policy.
And see, because at that point, yeah, at the age of 25, they should be able to find a better rate for themselves. Okay.
So the myth is that the premiums automatically go down. That's not really the case. You should shop that when they turn 25, or they should look at possibly getting their own policy.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, myth number 2, older cars are cheaper to insure than newer cars.
And that is a myth that people also think, but if you look at the different coverages, liability coverage doesn't even cover your vehicle. It covers other vehicles. And so the age of your car really isn't a factor there. The factor is that there's factors like who's driving the car, and also what is the liability risk of this car. You know, how likely is this vehicle to cause an accident? That's really more what they're looking at on the liability coverages. You know, newer vehicles may be more expensive, and so on a collision coverage or comprehensive coverage, it may be more expensive, but oftentimes older vehicles are just as expensive or more expensive to insure than newer vehicles.
So let's get rid of that myth right there. Myth number 3, if someone driving my car causes an accident, I won't be held responsible. Okay, that means if you lend your car to a friend or family member or somebody else, you let somebody else drive your car, if they wreck that, are you responsible for it?
Your insurance is most likely going to be the primary insurance on that accident. And so, because the insurance is going to follow the car. Okay. So, if you have insurance on that car and it's crashed, your insurance is going to have to pay for the damages. If you're underinsured and don't have enough coverage, then their insurance may step in and cover that also if it's a liability problem.
Okay.
But you should plan on, when you lend your car out, if they're in an accident, your insurance is going to be the primary responsible for the...
Okay, great tip, guys. Just be cautious about who you're lending your car out to. If you've got a crazy brother, crazy cousin, don't let him take that. Okay, myth number 5. My car insurance rates will be similar to my neighbor's rates. Why isn't that true?
Because there's so many factors that go into determining your insurance premium. You know, your driving record, the type of cars you own, you know, what company you go to, you know, how many kids you have, and, you know, if they're driving, that's going to affect it. And so, you know, your rates could be lower than your neighbors, it could be higher than your neighbors, but you should never, you know, expect your rates to be what your neighbors are.
The same as what your neighbors are.
Yeah, which is why it's important to shop your insurance around and see, you know, if you can get the best rate. Don't just look at my neighbors with this company, so they must be good because my neighbor's getting a good price. Okay. You know, it may be different for you than it is for your neighbor.
No, and that's actually a great tip too, and that's why we actually have these interviews and have people like you on here. Because, again, you don't want to be asking your neighbor about insurance, just like you don't want to ask your neighbor about their mortgage or anything like that. Each case is particular to you and your situation. So call Ben or call your insurance agent and get a free quote about what your rates are going to be for your situation, your age, your car history, and those type of things, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So number 5 right here, help will always be there when a disaster happens. Why is that a myth?
Because there's no guarantees about anything. You can't expect that the government is going to step in and help you anytime something major happens.
Okay.
And not only that, but oftentimes it's not free. It's going to come in the form of an interest-free loan, and so it's important that if you don't have enough cash to pay off your mortgage or to pay for somewhere to live while your house is being rebuilt, then you can't just hope that the government is going to step in right away and help you. You need to be prepared for that.
So in the event of a catastrophe, you shouldn't necessarily rely on other people or the government. That's why getting proper insurance and the proper coverage on that insurance.
Yes, especially if you live in a disaster, a place where a disaster is likely to occur. If you live in a flood area or a high-risk earthquake area or tornadoes, exactly, anything like that, it's important that you're prepared financially for some kind of.
Okay, we're back, guys. Sorry we had a small camera misfunction right there, but we've got everything squared away, so we're just going to move right along. Myth number 6 is having more than one insurance policy with the same company always results in cheaper insurance rates.
And that is not true necessarily, because you do get a multi-policy discount often for having more than one policy with the same carrier, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's still going to be cheaper than having your auto with one company and your home with another. Maybe having your home with one other company, it's still going to save you money, even though you lose that discount. Because the other company is so much cheaper. Which is another reason why it's good to look at multiple companies and look at maybe an independent agent who can look at multiple insurance companies for you.
Different scenarios. So basically what we're talking about, everybody usually has more than one policy. You've got your car policies, 1 or 2 of those. You got a homeowners or renter's policy, life insurance, health insurance, stuff like that. So it's not always smart to have them with the same person.
Yeah, not always. Sometimes, often, but certainly not something you want to just take as
just as a blind faith type thing, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so again, always get that quoted out. Make sure you're getting the best deal that you can on there. Okay, cheap cars cost less to insure. Isn't that really the case?
Most of the time, but again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The liability coverage, it doesn't really matter on the liability portion of it what the car is worth. It's more factored in. They have different liability risks assigned to vehicles, so which vehicles are at a greater risk of an accident than other vehicles, and the price doesn't really factor in there.
And maybe even the driver too.
And the driver,
factor in that.
exactly. And so comprehensive and collision coverage, yes, most of the time, but liability certainly not.
Okay, awesome. That's good to know. Okay, number 8, we're just going to wrap up here pretty soon. My insurance company will always cover me for theft, vandalism, or damage by hail or fire.
Yes, and that is going to fall under the comprehensive coverage. So you need to make sure that you have comprehensive coverage, which a lot of times people think they do, but they don't. For example, if you go to progressive.com and they allow you to name your own price, so you can drag this little bar down and your price will get cheaper and cheaper, but what they're really doing is taking away all your coverages so that you can get a cheaper price. And so, it's important for you as a consumer to know what coverages you have and make sure that you have the coverages you need.
Okay. So what we always recommend to people is it's not always price should be your main factor right there. Really sit down with a good insurance agent, go over what kind of liability and what kind of coverage you need to protect you and your family, right?
Yes.
And then try and find the best price based on what coverage you need.
Yeah, just because the best value, really, is the way I like to say it.
Best value. That's
get what you need, but get the best deal you can get at the
okay. So there's no point in saving $50 a month if it ends up costing you thousands to replace your car because you didn't have the right coverage.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Number 9 right here. This is one of my favorites. Car color affects your insurance premium.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised that people do ask me that, and a lot of people think that the color of their car matters, but it really doesn't. I mean, that's not anything that is factored into the price.
So that fiery red color doesn't cost more than the blue one, or
no.
Okay. Nice. Okay, and last one right here. Buy only the minimum required insurance. Why is that a big myth or a big no-no? What do people need to know about that?
Because buying the minimum insurance may not be enough. If you get in an accident and it's your fault and someone gets paralyzed or is in the hospital for long periods of time and they have a lot of medical bills, those can add up. State minimum coverages may not be adequate to protect you.
Okay.
You got to look at your assets, your net worth, your income. What do you need to protect you? How much do you need to protect. And,
Okay.
and so, it's not just as simple as just giving the minimum, because that's oftentimes not enough.
So again, like, take a look at your situation, your family, sit down with your agent, and make sure you go through everything to do with your family and what you need to cover, and find the right coverage for that.
Yes.
Even if it's greater than what the minimum requirement is.
Exactly, yes, because the minimum is for most people, it's not adequate.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, that's all 10 myths right now. Ben, appreciate you coming in. This has been a lot of fun, some really good advice. I hope that saves you guys some money, or at least gives you something to think about and talk about with your insurance agent. Just to let you know, Ben's one of the guys that we always recommend and trust. We know that he'll take care of you, give you honest feedback about your situation, and do some good planning, right, so that people get the right coverage for them.
Exactly.
So if you guys want to talk to Ben, his phone number, contact information is going to show up right here. Definitely give him a call. You do a free consultation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't cost anything to talk, guys, so call him up. Feel free to ask any questions that you have.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun, new experience for me, and I always recommend Matthias to my clients who need help with mortgages, and he's done a great job, and very professional, very great to work with. So it's been great.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.